Okay. All right. Looks like I'm live. Welcome. Welcome to the Game Engine stream. Just making sure everything looks correct. My audio is working. Got my music in the background. It's a bit louder than usual. Yeah, today's going to be an interesting stream. I'm going to start off with the devlog first, but let me go ahead and get into that in the updates really quick. All right. So, like I said, I'm starting the stream with the devlog first. So probably the first like half an hour, I'm gonna be doing the devlog, and yeah, I'll get into the details in a second. The next thing is after I finish with the devlog, I'm going to be working on more scripting features, kind of an extension of what I was working on yesterday, where I was making it so that you can access the assets, like the specific assets you're working with, like the emitter asset or whatever in the actual scripts, right? So I'm going to extend that to all of the other assets that are in the engine. So yeah, I was going to do UI today, but I decided I'm going to finish the stream a bit early today, and I wanted to get something that I could get a decent chunk done, and I already know how to do. So I decided, okay, I'm just going to continue what I was doing yesterday, get that done, and then that way I'll have that feature for all the assets right now, right? So yeah, other than that, we're going to go ahead and start the devlog. I'm just going to go straight to the devlog, and then after that, I'll continue the normal stream. All right, so let's open the devlog. All right, so it's going to be a PowerPoint presentation, right? And basically, I'm going to try and run through a few slides. If anyone comes in, I'll tell you guys when you come in. But basically, I'm just going to try and get through this pretty fast, and then I'll stop every once in a while and just check if there's any like questions or anything. If there's anything related to the presentation or just a general question, I'll try to answer it. Otherwise, I'll just try to move to the end of presentation, and then we can talk after anything more specific. But yeah, other than that, we'll go ahead and start the devlog. Okay, that's good. All right. So welcome to the first Cargano Game Engine devlog 0. So this devlog is basically going to introduce the engine as a whole, not going into too much detail into any particular code or system in the engine, but I will do like a brief overview of the whole engine to kind of get everyone up to speed with where I'm at, and then future streams and whatnot I will cover in newer devlogs. Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. Oh, wait, working. Oh, there we go. Okay. So what's in this video, right? First, I'm going to introduce myself. So for some formal introductions, talk about like why I'm making a game engine, and introduce the Twitch stream more officially. I will be posting this on YouTube so everyone can see it and whatnot. Okay, the next thing is I will discuss all the major engine systems. So this includes audio, networking, physics, scripting, ECS, particles. Did I talk about the event system? I don't think I did, but there's a few other ones, asset system and whatnot. And again, just to reiterate, I'm not going to go into like exhaustive detail about each section of the engine. I'm just going to kind of do a quick overview and describe it and where it's currently at, right? And I'm going to finish off by showing off the GitHub, just how do you use the engine, and is it open source? You can skip to any part of the video if you're watching on YouTube and just check that out immediately. It's, I'll tell you right now, it's not in like current workable states. I have plans for that. But yeah, I'll get into more detail later on. Let me see if there's anything else on the slide. I'm mainly going to show the systems working. Yeah, okay, so I think I covered everything here. All right, so let's start with the introductions, right? So hi, my username is lsai-kongru, right? That's not my real name, of course. It's a catchphrase from the anime Steins Gate. If you haven't watched Steins Gate, I think it was like #1 on my anime list for quite a few years. I haven't checked that for a long time, so I don't know where it's at right now, but it's a pretty good anime if you need something to watch. All right. I'm a recent college graduate. About a year ago, I got my bachelor's in sciences and computer science. Right. So that's kind of where my introductions to this topic kind of came from. I took a graphics course in OpenGL that used the learnopengl.com website. If you've never heard of that, it's a really good website for kind of getting your foot into the door with like basic graphics programming. And yeah, I went on from there, making the engine, and I'll get more into that a little bit later when I introduce some stuff. And yeah, I've been trying out streaming. I've been streaming for the past few months. I have a few people that come by and say hi and just see how I'm doing and what's going on. And then, yeah. Oh yeah, that's Adam Dev. Hi, I'm doing a devlog right now. Thanks for coming by though. If you have anything about the presentation or anything, just let me know. I'm gonna try and run through it, and then I'm gonna continue with the how do I say with the normal stream. But yeah, I'm just introducing the engine. yeah. Wait, really quick, let me do something. Did I have the... Oh yeah, I have the chat. Okay, so I'm not gonna show the chat for now, just because of the presentation. I'll bring it back a little bit later. Yeah, you came in before, right? I remember. But yeah, all right. I'm gonna go ahead and continue with the devlog. So let's see. All right. So what does this devlog cover? So this is the first devlog. I'm just introducing the engine formally, like all over. And how do I say? I'm going up until the 13th of this month, which is the 13th was yesterday. That was the last commit. And then going forward is going to be devlog 1, right? So I don't know when I'm going to post the next devlog. It just depends how long it takes me to like build up enough content, right? But yeah, we'll see. So the first bit, why are you're making a game engine? Why, right? So my main like reasoning, right, is it's fun. I think that's kind of the best reason to do a game engine, is it's fun and you get to learn a lot. So it's nice having like a big long-term project to put on my like repo or whatever. And it's I think one of the big things is it's really nice building an entire like game project from the ground up and like knowing you built the entire thing, right? I've built like 2 games in other game engines, nothing substantial, but it's just not as satisfying like putting it together in the game engine, and that's just like a personal thing. Being able to like kind of like see the whole thing come together with all of your dependencies and seeing everything like kind of like propped up, it's really nice. So the next thing is it's an interesting problem to solve. There's always things to work on in the game engine, and there's a lot of different areas in computer science that it covers. I want to say before I continue, I'm not like an authority on like software engineering or anything. I'm not like a senior dev or whatever. I'm just a dude working on like code that I put on like an open repo, right? So take my advice with a grain of salt, right? But yeah, I mean, in my experience working on like the engine, like you work on a lot of areas in computer science depending on what your goals are for the engine, right? You do data structures and algorithms, definitely. You need to choose the right data structure to make certain algorithms efficient. If you get into networking, of course, there's that whole thing. You got to set up like server client situation and everything. That's its own realm in computer science. You do a lot of maths related to computer science, discrete math, linear algebra. There's a ton in graphics programming. What's up, DJ Vibes? Yeah, I got a whole presentation. I'm just doing a devlog right now, so I might not be able to respond to everything right now, but if you have any questions or anything, I'll check back. You know what I mean? All right, so what was the next thing? So flex software muscles. Next thing is I know my tech, right? So when you write your own game engine, right, or you write your own project in general, you know the code, right? like you have written it, you know how everything works. You don't need to go back and like read documentation. You don't need to get caught up when they do a new push to the engine because you're the one who made it. And this kind of leads into one of the downsides in the next page as well. But it is nice when there's an issue in the engine, you know where the issue is, and then you can try and solve it yourself instead of trying to argue with people in the Stack Overflow or try to see if the devs will fix the bug, right? All right, so are there downsides? Of course there are downsides, right? The first big downside that everyone touts, and it's for a good reason, is it takes a long time, right? Writing a game engine, it takes a very long time depending on what goals you choose, right? And if you directly compare someone who's making a game engine, their own tech stack, and then making a game on top of it, versus someone who's using an existing game engine and just writing their game, the person writing the game on top of an existing one is always going to go faster, right? So if your goal is just to make a game, just use a game engine. Don't worry about the how do I say? Like don't worry about like writing your own tech. That's like a whole thing, right? You have to be your own tech support. That's kind of leading in from the last point, right? So all the code needs to be maintained by someone, right? And that's going to be you. And especially if you want other people to use the code at some point, then you need to write your own documentation so people understand what you're doing. You need to write it in a presentable way, which I'm working on. I'm like, mine's not nearly at that point. But these are things you need to think about and consider, especially if you want other people working on the same code base, right? All right, and then the next thing is you cannot compete with huge companies, right? So if you're trying to make a game engine, you're trying to directly compete with other companies, they have huge teams. You're not going to do it, right? How do I say, right? There's other engines like Unity, Unreal, Godot, and Unreal, Godot, Game Maker. They have like huge teams working on those engines. You're not going to compete with them. But if you find your own niche and you want to work on your own little tech, or you want to like try out something kind of obtuse, you can try it. All right, so with that done, let's talk about some of the previous projects I've worked on, right? So I've worked on a Java simulation before, a 3D renderer, and I made my own little breakout clone. The last two were written in OpenGL, and they were written directly, so the code is kind of messy, and they're kind of the reason I started working on the engine in the first place, because it is kind of messy. I wanted to get the abstractions to be better, and when I add some of these features back into the engine, I want it to be nice and clean, right? And also the Java simulation is kind of an interesting one. That was my first attempt at making a game in general, right? The graphics are not even using like a graphics API. So the graphics are using like a giant buffer of like data for like, or how do I say? It's using an array of like vectors to map colors to locations onto the screen, right? But they're being drawn in scan lines. So you're literally drawing every single pixel and then going back and forth and drawing it all the way down to fill the buffer, right? And then for each individual item or individual like texture or person, you're still drawing those scan lines directly onto the color buffer. So that one's kind of fun, but not a great way to write graphics. Yeah. That was the first thing that I moved over to C++, yeah. All right, and then people that are in the Twitch right now have already come by and like, you know, see how I'm doing and whatnot. So you guys already know what's going on, but for YouTube, I have a Twitch stream, right? My handle is lsidecongru100. All the links will be in the description of the video when I post it. And recently I've been working on like particle system. You can see like an example of the particle system. And my plans going forward, I want to finish my Pong game, and I've been working on in-game UI to support that. So my last my next kind of 3 things I'm working on is the UI for Pong, then finish fixing up some networking bugs, and then I'm going to release Pong. So yeah, if you want to come by and just see what's going on, feel free to check out the link. Let's see. Surprised nobody. I'm just checking out with DJ Vibes, by the way. I'm surprised no one has tried converting Minecraft into something like DirectX instead of Java. Yeah, they have like their whole. Well, they have bindings for graphics APIs and how do I say? In Java too. I think it's how Thin Matrix makes his engine and whatnot. But yeah. All right. So I'm going to continue. So the Twitch schedule. So this is my Twitch schedule. Basically Monday through Friday. I stream from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. I typically stream longer. But these are the times that I say I will be on. Let me see if anything in my notes. Oh yeah, and I don't stream on the weekends. Sometimes I will randomly, but I try not to. And then if I need to cancel a stream, I will indicate that in my Twitch schedules tab. I also have a little timer that counts down in my about section, so I'll try to make all those reflect if I'm not doing a stream that particular day. Right. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the game engine systems. I'm gonna go ahead and describe each system. Again, I'm not gonna get into super detail with them, but I'm just gonna introduce each one so I have a nice starting point and everyone's up to date. All right. So the first one, I think the biggest one everyone sees when they see the engine is the editor user interface, right? So it's written in ImGUI, right? I've written a lot of code on top of ImGUI, so it looks a lot different from typical ImGUI code bases, right? There's multiple windows, multiple panels for managing different assets that exist in the engine. And I have kind of a very specific design format that has an earthy color palette that I found online. So let me go ahead and show you. So this is just showing the main window of the engine's editor, right? So you can kind of see there's on the top left, there's a scene graph, right? With the current scene and all of its entities, and then you can see the main viewport with the current scene, right? And I'm just kind of showing different little buttons and going through panels. You can see I have the input map. I'll get into that section later. But yeah, this is just generally how the user interface looks. And yes, the game I'm working on is Pong. Got to start somewhere, right? So hopefully it'll be finished soon. Let's see. All right. Okay, so the next system is, and again, you'll see a lot of examples of the user interface throughout the stream when I'm talking about other assets and whatnot. So the next system is an ECS. If you've never seen an ECS, I'm not going to completely explain it here. There's a lot of good videos describing ECS systems. Generally speaking, though, an ECS holds how do I say, it maintains sort of an entity to component relationship when you're just looking at it, right? So you can associate individual pieces of data with a particular entity, but then in the background, each of those components are held in contiguous buffers, right? So you have one big buffer of example, a transform component, right? So that whole buffer is just one giant array of transform components, and then the big benefit of an ECS is that you loop through that buffer straight, which makes cache misses minimal, right? In my engine, I use Ent. That's a backend library for ECS. There's also Flax. That's another good one. That one uses a different backend architecture for setting it up. I think it uses archetypes, and I forget the one Ent uses, but Ent is better for single component checks if you're running through one type of component. I think Flax is better for if you have a transform and you have another component and you need to go through both of them at the same time. That one's better for that. So it just depends, right? All right, and then what is it? Our entity component system. Actually, I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna get some water. Just give me a second. I'm back. You said Subway Surfers at the bottom? I'm dead, DJ Vibes. I mean, maybe you can add that in post, I don't know. All right, so entity component system, right? So I'm just displaying how the ECS is shown in the engine, right? So you can see the scene graph, right? And then it shows the scene, and then each individual entity is one of those blocks. And then if you open that, like player 2, for example, you can see a list of different, components, right? So tag, transform, rigid body, yada, yada, yada. So again, all this is implemented in the Ent backend, and I just hook into that with my UI, right? Okay, and then another system that I wrote myself, right, is it goes on top of this ECS system, and it's basically a custom component editor, right? So what you can do in this editor is you can use some of the engine specific components, which is the transform, rigid body. I manage those, right? But if you, for your project, want to have like project specific components that are only relevant to your particular game, you can create them in this little project component tab or panel, right? And then basically you can reference these inside of a particular entity and change its values depending on that entity's needs, right? All right, so on to rendering, right? The rendering for this engine, it uses, right now it's basically 2D quads. I do have other primitives such as cubes and pyramids, and I'll go ahead and show that in a second, but the game I'm working on basically just needs 2D quads, right? Yes, other primitives do exist, and yeah, I do plan on working on a mesh system at some point. I just need a better formal way of like displaying that in the engine first, right? And then once I kind of figure out how that's going to look in the engine, then I'll go ahead and throw it in, right? But yeah, the backend uses OpenGL 4.3, GLAD, and GLFW. And GLAD basically retrieves function pointers from the graphics card to be able to run OpenGL. And GLFW is just the windowing library that allows you to handle input, open a window, a few other things, but it's mainly the context in which the engine lives in, or the editor or the runtime or whatnot. I'll get some water really quick. All right, so here's like just a basic showcase of the different primitives that are available in the engine. So I just have a quad, a cube, and a pyramid, right? Again, a formal meshing system I will add at some point. And I even say here, I really need a meshing system, I really do. Yeah, but yeah, you can still add textures and whatnot. You'll see in the Pong gameplay, or I think you've already seen that I am able to add textures and whatnot. So all that's available. And yeah, I think that's about it for rendering. For the in-game user interface, right? So it provides like a heads-up display and menu items. So that's what I have used currently. So I have a main menu in my Pong game, and I have kind of like a score counter when you're playing the Pong game. And yeah, the functioning of the system is entirely custom written, right? The only thing that I need as a dependency is MSDF gen and MSDF Atlas gen. Yeah, DJ Vibes is, I don't know, I just found a bunch of, how do I say? GIFs online. But yeah, it just says user interface, I don't know. But yeah, let me go ahead and show it. So I have an editor for the user interface. So this is showing, it's its own window. You can move around widgets. It has gizmos for moving around. Currently, I only really support like text widgets. They kind of function like buttons, really. And again, the next streams that I work on, I will be adding more widgets and better text rendering to this, right? All right. All right, scripting. So for scripting, I have my own custom language. It's based on C++ and it compiles into C++, right? and it compiles into a DLL so that you can write scripts directly into the engine. And then when you make changes to those, you can recompile the scripts in the DLL and then immediately see the changes. So those are pretty standard features in an engine, but it's kind of important that they're in there. And I also have linting and error checking inside of the engine supported with my language's compiler, right? And this was written with no dependencies other than just having the DLLs interact between the engine and the game code. All right, and then in here, I'm just showing the script text editor with the linting and error checking. You can see here, I have my little autocomplete window that pops up, and then you can tab and it'll autocomplete. And then you can see all the different options. You can call other functions. You have engine functions provided. You can call other script functions and whatnot. And then of course you can just go ahead and recompile it and it should just work, right? I'm still working on a lot of kinks and issues with it. So, I mean, most of this engine is still work in progress, but this one in particular, I do plan on doing another once over and maybe even giving it its own window, since you can see this is in the main window. All right, next thing is the AI system. I don't really have a good way to showcase it, so I'm just going to show some gameplay from Pong. But for this system, I have a very basic state machine built in for game AI, and I can kind of, you'll see in a second, like how it's kind of structured. And it also features a messaging system that's exclusively for the AI system. I might pull that out and then have it as just like a general messaging system between entities. But yeah, you can send messages between entities using the system, right? So here you can see in the Pong gameplay on the right, I have an AI I'm playing against, and it's beating me, or I don't know, I think it beats me. Yeah, I think it does. Okay. But yeah, you can see on the bottom left, I have the AI state editor. And basically the idea is you have an AI state and then it responds to certain types of events, such as on update or on AI message, right? So the on AI message is basically whenever this AI entity receives a message, you can handle that in that script, right? And also on update script just handles on update for that when you're in that particular state, right? And the other two is just on enter state versus on exit state. So those two, you can have a certain functionality when you enter and exit a state. So you would attach a script in that case as well, right? In this case, I haven't used all those abilities, but at some point I will. And I do have some ideas for adding future, how do I say, more features to the AI system. All right. All right, the next thing is the physics system, right? So the physics system, it uses box 2D in the background. I have plans for 3D in the future, but for now it's just 2D. That's all Pong really needs, right? It supports 2D box and circle colliders from the editor. And yeah, I still have work to do on this system, right? And you can see I have a little car floating around for physics, right? I don't know. Don't mind the GIFs, I just chose them kind of randomly. But yeah, you can see, basically I'm just showing the debug visualization of the box colliders. I think in the next slide, I kind of show how you can set up the box and circle colliders, right? And then, yeah, the line in the middle is just another entity that is a sensor. So you can enable sensors where if you have an entity that overlaps with that sensor, you can have certain functionality that will be called, right? All right, and then here you can see, so this is the, how do I say, the rigid body and the circle collider components for an entity, right? So you can set different settings for different colliders. You can have a box collider or a circle collider if you want, and then you need to have a rigid body, which kind of describes how that entity is treated inside of the physics system. So do you want it to be static, where it just stays where it's at, or do you want it to be dynamic, where it is able to be moved around and whatnot, right? And that's all that's supported. Again, I have new ideas for like setting up in the UI, and then also adding more extensions from Box2D later on. So I will get around to that. The next thing is audio. So right now I only support doing WAV files because that's all I use, but I could fairly easily add more support for different audio files. WAV files are kind of the easiest files to load in because they're kind of a one-to-one translation into how I think PCM data, how it's pushed out when you output it to like a speaker and whatnot. The backend uses OpenAL. So OpenAL, if you don't know, is a 3D audio library, which allows for 3D spatial playback of audio. So you can kind of get like Doppler effect with cars moving around relative to other objects and whatnot. And yeah, you can just play audio with certain attenuations depending on how far certain objects are from other ones, right? And again, the implementation audio right now is very simple, but the library is implemented, so I should just go back. I need to go back into the documentation and just add more features. That's all I need to do, right? So let me just go ahead and show how you can play audio. It's really only from the scripts at the moment. I used to have it attached to entities, but I need to rethink that whole API. So basically what you do is you just go into the audio namespace and then either play audio or play music, right? And then you provide the name of the audio file. I'm actually, this stream, I'm going to be working on a feature where you don't have to type out the name as a string. Instead, you can type, you'll have an actual variable that you can put instead of that string, and then it makes it a lot more efficient. How do I say? To, how can I describe that? Yeah. Yeah, okay, so when you provide a string, right, it has to hash that string, right? So it has to go through each individual character and then add it to the hash, and then it creates that hash and then checks whether the hash matches another hash, right? Whereas in the new way I'm going to do it, I'm just going to provide a variable, and then that variable is going to evaluate to just a number, so that'll be a lot faster. But anyways, that's not an audio thing, it's just a scripting thing. But again, I will add more features to this later on. All right, next thing is input. So the input uses, well, the basic backend for the input right now for desktop is glfw, right? So glfw provides the ability to send input from the OS to my engine, and then I can handle that appropriately. Right, currently I only support keyboard and mouse. In my previous game, specifically the Breakout game, I was able to use gamepad, right? So I do have plans for adding that in the future. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, or haven't really needed to do it yet in this engine. So yeah, and then the other thing is I have a specific asset in my engine called an input map. And the input map essentially, it's one big asset, and it contains a list of inputs to function or script bindings, right? So you can easily rebind different input to different functions. And I'll go ahead and show that here. So this shows the creation of a key script binding in an input map asset. So you can see I'm selecting a key, and then next I select a function, right? Or a script or whatever. I'm just searching for one. Yeah, and these are one scripts that are compatible with its types, and then I don't think I go further than that, but you can click OK, and then it will populate it into either the update, to the on key pressed, or into the polling section, depending on when you want it to respond, right? And of course, this is an asset, so it can be modified at runtime if you need to, or so like you can do like custom key bindings for your particular game if you need to do that. And of course, inside the scripts, you can just flatly ask for, like, is this key pressed or is this mouse button pressed, and then just do that. You can do that as well if you want, but this provides a more flexible way of managing input. All right, networking. So the engine does support networking. It does use the ASIO library in the backend for basic like network sockets. I think they do provide like really low level sockets like BSD sockets, but I just use their normal API. If I need more speed, I'll do that later, but anyways, I digress. I've written a client-server architecture where the server basically acts as a relay between the clients to communicate. So it's a very simple architecture. There's other ways to do it where you can make the server more authoritative, and I do have plans for that later, but for Pong, it doesn't really need it, so I'm not really worried about it right now. There's so many more issues to worry about with networking, like keeping security up, you know, packets being sent in between, how do I say, clients can be intercepted and whatnot, so you got to be careful how you want to go about that. And it does use both TCP and UDP data, right? So I have support for both of those. I send physics using UDP, and TCP is for things that need to be correct, right? So client server can, oh yeah, and then the other thing is that the client and server can be exported along with a project. So basically the client is packed along with the actual game that you export. And I believe I forgot to mention that you can fully create and export a game in the engine. So that is possible to do, right? And then when you do export it, again, the client is bundled up with the actual game, and then the server is built as its own standalone application. So you can run the server wherever you want. Just make sure that all of the environment variables are set up correctly, and then you're good, right? All right, so here I'm showing an example of networking working. So this is just on a local machine, and you can see both of the clients are synced up, right? I didn't do too much with this demonstration, but you can just tell that like it is being synced, right? And I have tested it with more latency across larger network, and it does work, but it still needs some, how do I say, some finishing touches, mainly with making sure that interpolation is done between frames of updates. So that still needs to be managed, but the basic framework of this is there, right? All right, particle system. This is the most recent addition to the engine, right? Very simple, just CPU. I think I was actually talking with a viewer the other day, and he was telling me about how he sets up his billboards and everything with, what is it, for his GPU system, right? And yeah, there is a lot of room for improvement for my particle system, but it is in there, it works. There is an editor for it. And yeah, it supports like a bounding box, so you can spawn particles in a bigger area. There's emitter lifetimes, there's gravity and whatnot. So yeah. So here I'm just showcasing the editor for particle emitters, and I'm showing like an emitter that kind of looks like a fire. You can see like the fire starts off as like a blue color and then turns into a red. I could add like a gradient color at some point. I think I will do that, but I got to figure out how the UI is going to look for that. I saw a good extension someone had for modifying color gradients, so I might look into that. But yeah, this is the basic particle emitter. You can change different particle specific settings, different like emitter settings. You can spawn more or less particles. You can modify the buffer size. You can enable gravity. Yeah, change colors and whatnot, particle sizes. So there's a bunch of things you can do with it currently. There's a lot more to add though. All right, and the asset management system. So this is a very central system in the engine, right? You need a good asset management system so that you can add systems and engine and assets into the engine and not have to worry about a whole bunch of mess, right? You want to have a very uniform API for interacting with the assets, and you want to make sure that they function in a very specific way, right? And you also are able to, how do I say, deal with special cases when you have like maybe like an audio file, you want it to be imported differently from texture file, obviously, right? So you need ways to handle those differently, right? Also, the asset system supports caching, so you can cache certain assets. And then, for example, if you have a texture, you wouldn't want to have, like say if you had like 5 entities and then they all use the same texture, you wouldn't want to have 5 copies of the texture inside of your program, right? You would only want to have one, and everything references that one texture. So the asset system provides that through caching, right? And of course you can export certain assets. It's very limited right now, but you can do it for like I think 1 or 2 of them. And yeah, I think this was one of the main systems that I wanted to get done right early, so that when I move on to more complex systems, I don't start pulling my hair out. So this, I'm going to kind of show this in two parts. It's kind of hard to describe this one. First, I'm showing the general panel. It's just the asset viewer panel, and you can see all of the assets just flatly defined. I plan on adding more stuff to this later. And yeah, it just shows like its location, its name, and then like a checksum so you know if the file changed or not. Oh yeah, and then I use polymorphism and templating to set up the system. So I don't love using polymorphism templating, if you know anything about that in C++. It makes code very complicated. Sometimes it's good, especially if you're not going to work with that system too often. Then you can just do it. But for this case, for assets, you have a lot of very samey code, and it really helps to actually kind of have that set up in a very samey way, like kind of like polymorphism, right? Like allows you to do with templating. Okay, the next thing is show asset management functions in content browser, right? So here, yeah, I'm just showing you can import different assets. These are just raw PNG files, .raw WAV files in that directory, right? And then you can right click it, click export, you choose its export location. And also here you can see I was able to like create an asset. It'll open up one of the editors and then you can go about your way just making that asset, right? And again, all of this is kind of tied into the asset management system as a whole, right? Okay, so here's my final section talking about the GitHub. So I did this on my first stream, but the README wasn't really that great back then, so I wanted to do like a rehash of this and also have a more formal video for showing the GitHub. So first thing, is the engine available? It is still kind of garbage at the moment because I'm working on it, but I do have plans for making an initial like alpha version of it once I finish Pong and the next game I'm going to make, I believe, Snake. So I'll make Pong, Snake, and then I'm going to make like an initial release of it, right? The engine is Apache 2.0 license, which is a very, very permissive license. It's very similar to MIT license, if you're familiar with that one. I don't ever have plans of selling the engine, right? So it's always going to be open source if you want to like extend the engine or you want to do a pull request or you want to fork it and do whatever you want. Like, I mean, I would appreciate it, you know, if you want to do that. If you don't, I mean, I'm mainly making it for myself, so that's up to you. Let's see. It's available on GitHub. The most stable version is the main branch, and then newer features that I work on typically on stream get pushed to the dev branch. So if you want to see like the most recent pushes, it's on the dev branch, right? And not exactly usable yet, I think I said that, but yeah, trying to make the first and second game, and then yeah, I'll post the initial version of it, probably like a 0.1.0 version, maybe the next few months. Just depends how making the first two games goes. So, oh, my thing went off. Okay, here we go. And then here I'm just kind of showing like a GIF showing the, how do I say, the GitHub. I will have a link to the engine in the description, so you can click there and just check it out if you feel like it. But there are instructions in here. It kind of showcases the engine, and you can see at the bottom there's a quick start, so there's a whole like, installation guide for Windows, and it technically works on Linux, but there's still some things I need to like figure out. The GCC compiler works. I've gotten all the windowing stuff working. The OpenGL works fine as long as you have 4.3 or above, which is pretty a lot of computers typically have that. I know there's cases where you don't, but I'm working on addressing that later. And yeah, I think that's about it. So yeah, that's the end of the devlog. If you're on the stream right now, thanks for being patient with me. I just wanted to get through the devlog and try to get that finished. I'm gonna edit it down and then post it on YouTube later. But yeah, I think that's it. I think I have to put these credits for the template that I used, and that's it. All right, so I'm gonna take a quick break. I'm gonna go ahead and go in BRB mode and just my setup around again, so it's normal streaming. And yeah, I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. DJ Vibes, are you still here? You said, is it good at crash handling or recovering process? Yeah, I'm kind of working on that. How do I say? I've been more mindful of that, like as I've like added more features and making sure that like certain issues, like if it's like an engine, or how do I say, like if it's something that should never happen when it's caused by the end user, that I make sure that that will cause an assert. But if it's something that the end user could cause, then I want to make sure that it just throws a warning, and then I make sure I like handle that case in particular well. So as far as like bugs, I know there's like a million bugs in the engine, so still gotta figure that out, I guess. For sure. But yeah, let me go ahead and get all my stuff set up. I think I didn't have my progress board open. Let me open this up. Yeah, that was my first time doing that kind of like a devlog like that, so I think I'll get a little bit faster doing that later. We'll see though. Kind of an introvert, so the whole thing is kind of like new for me, I guess. Okay, let me get my dry IO up too. Oh, what you mean? Like in general? Like about the crash handling, or just trying hard to get a new PC, but oh. The whole market is confused, man. Yeah, I've never tried to like buy and sell on the PC market. 200, 250, are you buying like a part, or are you buying like a whole PC? Do I have this particles thing? Okay, so I'm not doing particles anymore. So yeah, you know what? I don't think I need this right now. Okay, so let me add something really quick. Get what is it called? Add asset references inside scripts. Okay, I'm going to move this into the small wanted features. Oh, you're doing GPUs. Okay. Yeah. 200, 250 euros. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, I never bought that card. I think the only one I've ever bought was my 2070. I think my friend bought like a 1080. Ventus, was it 1080? GTX, something like that. Yeah, that was a long time ago. Okay, I think I have all my stuff ready. Let me make sure I didn't forget anything. OBS updates. Yeah, so we're just gonna get into here. Okay. And let me move over to streaming. Ventus 1080. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? Kind of an older card now, huh? 1080. He said his works pretty well though. Oh my. Ancient. What did they have before that? Like before the 1080s? I remember they had like 960s, but like, was that their first line? I'm not familiar with their early lines of cards. Oh my, DJ Vibes. Oh my. Let's see. I'm trying to think where to start. Okay. So let me open up the Visual Studio. And I did a little bit of off-stream coding, so I'll go ahead and introduce that really quickly. Well, yeah, I got my 2070 in like 2020, something like that, and I think my friend bought the 1080 at the same time, so it was a little old at that time. All right, so let's go ahead and show. So yeah, I did some changes off stream, nothing too crazy. Let me see exactly what I changed. What did I do here? Function names, emitter hand. Okay, so I just, oh, I added this. Okay, yeah. I just moved that around really quick. Okay, yeah. And then the project, and then project panel. I'm trying to remember what I did. Yeah, this was just some aspect ratio stuff that I was working with. And then I think I fixed like a crash. Okay. So this first main window one, I just fixed a crash where, or no, it wasn't a crash. It was just, it was showing the wrong emitters at the wrong time. I think when I was switching between the main window and then the emitter editor window, it was still showing one of the emitters. So I had to fix this. So that was just a bug fix. Here, I changed how I render the resolutions. It's kind of a simple change. I'm just not doing it in one list. I kind of support it more in the actual project section. So here I added a lot more resolutions for the 16:9. I mean, how much is a, did you guys, how much is like a new, it's like, wait, we're in the 50 series now, right? Damn. How much is a new one of those? Let's see. Get suggestions. You don't know DJ Vibes? 1.5K? 1.5K for a GPU? Yeah, that's okay. I mean, yeah, I guess if you need it, sure. Well, that is a 5090 as well, so. But still, inflation is going crazy. All right, and then this section. Basically, I think I just flipped some stuff around because what was happening here? Decide emitter name. I think I just renamed some stuff, and that was about it. And then I added a section for handling function identifiers. Wait, what did I do here? Let me see. Actually, what is this section? Let me see if I can just open the straight code. Get suggestions defaults. Oh, okay, I think I remember now. Yeah. So I renamed some stuff and then basically I reordered it. Like some of these, like these, I just moved them around in this function so that the order displays better. So I think, right, like the emitter configs, I had this up at the top and then I moved it down. And then I wrote this section in to kind of make it more efficient since I just load all the strings into a set. And then I just checked the set because before I think I was looping through all of the vector every single time. That's ridiculous. So yeah, it was just some optimization stuff, but I don't think it had any actual implications. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and commit this, and yeah. What was the first section again? I think main window. Fix bug where emitter editor instances display in main window viewport in main window.cp. Okay. Project, okay, and then add more aspect ratio options, or more screen resolution options for the 16 by 9 aspect ratio in project.h/.cpp and project panel.cpp. Oh, what's up, DJ Vibes? What's the fact? What you got? It was actually called it because I remember hearing something along those lines when because I think they had that factoid when you like start studying computer science, but I completely forgot. Is it really? Why are computer bugs called bugs? Really? Found a moth lodged into the machine's hardware. Oh yeah, it was in a relay calculator. Where are you getting these factoids, DJ Vibes? Are you holding your cards close to your chest, or are you getting them from somewhere? Add, okay. Rearrange suggestion generation in script compiler. I see. All right, well, let's see. A few unrelated features / bugs. There's just one bug, but whatever. All right, so let's get on to today's topic, and I'll go ahead and actually put what I'm trying to do here. So let's get rid of this, and I'll scroll in a bit. All right, so basically I just want to add assets, references into scripts. And this includes inputs, audio, etc. etc. All right. Yeah, that's my whole goal for today. So let's see if we can get it. No, yeah, they're fun factoids. And history in general is important. I do agree. Even though I don't really pay attention. I think I took like 3 or 4 history classes during my degree. I hated every second, I'm not gonna lie. But then the moment I learned history like outside of class, I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. But yeah, I don't know, like writing essays about history and everything. I don't know, man. This is how I feel about it. Okay. Here's a bunch of facts I pulled from, you know, and this is how I feel about it. Yeah, it's tough, right? No, and I don't know why they require so many history classes. I'm just trying to do my degree in an unrelated field. All right, open up level 1. So let's get rid of this. All right, so Emitter. All right, so the idea, right, is right now I can specify any emitter config directly, like this, right? So I just want this for every other asset. And I gotta figure out, is there a way to do this easily? I do not know. Let's find out. All right, so the first thing is to parse it. Yeah, to parse it, right? So yeah, let's go to, how do I say, the script compiler service. Script compiler service. Oh yeah, my webcam is off. I must have been looking off into the corner the whole time. All right. Okay, let's go to compile. Wait, compile script file, or is it? No, it's create language def, and then I think keyword here. Okay, so these are just the normal keywords. That's fine. Initialization prototypes. This is just for the vectors. That's fine. And also, I should probably rethink this. So I don't know. Okay, let me go find this emitter config. Here it is. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm gonna go get a list of all my assets really quick and put them together. Let's see. In World War II, the British had a wild idea of attaching toilets filled with explosives to planes. With explosives to planes, then spray painted them. The is called Taco Bell Special. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, I have heard of like the tactics that the British used towards the end of World War II to get like the remaining cities when they were like kind of like the high point were kind of crazy. I mean, again, they were going against Nazis, so I mean, you know, I don't know, but still, I mean, it's civilian lives and whatnot. Like they were, I don't know, war's crazy, man. But yeah, I would believe it. That's wild, though. AI state manager. Okay. Let me list out these assets. Okay, really quick, I'm just gonna add an AI state. Audio. Emitter config. Font. Game states. Input map. Project component. Do I want to reference a project component directly? Yeah, I guess so. Scene. Script I'm not going to worry about though, because you can already reference scripts. Shader though. Yeah, shade. Okay, so shader. Oh no, not shader. What am I talking about? User interface. Okay, so I was just writing out a list for myself right here. They also dropped wooden dummy bombs onto our decoys. Hmm. Yeah, dang. I don't know. I don't know, man. Let's see. There is... Okay, here we go. Early Discord tokens. Gain 1.8k members in less than 2 minutes, by the way, for deleting Discord tokens from classical. Oh, for your Discord. Getting those script kitties, as they say. I didn't like that. I didn't like that term. All right, let's see. Emitter config. AI states. Do I already have one of these? AI state? No, what do I feel like I do? Key code, message type. Yeah, I feel like I already have one of those. Get translation, global state. Yeah, this is likely going to break some stuff. Let me see. AI. Oh, okay, so it takes in a name. Okay, yeah, I'm getting rid of this. This is ridiculous. Okay, so I put in the name of it as a string, and then I guess I convert it into the actual integer. Yeah, I'm getting rid of this. I do not like this. Oh, for sure. Do your thing, J-Vibes. Do your thing. All right, let's see. So AI states, there we go. Yeah, I'm gonna go down this list. So AI states probably gonna go first. We'll just add the types first, and then we'll go from there. Reference to an AI state asset. AI states. What is the AI state used for? I always forget. The AI state is used to describe an individual state that an entity can be inside a larger finite state machine context. This state describes its on events, actions, and how it enters / exits the state. Yeah, that's about it. All right, AI state, that's good. Okay, audio. And of course, it's going to turn into this, and then we need to make a literal. So I might take all of, like, instead of having individual these asset literals, I might just make one big literal for assets, and then, how do I say? Maybe we'll just check if it's the right type of that literal, right? So what I might do is like an asset literal. And I'm going to get rid of this. And I'm going to load it differently. So here, that's going to break a few things. That's fine. I'll do an asset literal. since we're going to be using a lot of them. Literal. Okay. And then S icon, oh, wait. Icon AI, just the regular one. There we go. Okay, I think that's it. There's the AI state. All right, so let's do that for the rest of them. We're gonna do audio. Okay, this one's gonna be called audio buffer. Audio buffer. Let's do an audio buffer asset. Yeah, and I specifically want these types to be different so that they can't be confused with each other. So that's why I'm writing them all out differently. Buffer is used to describe is typically loaded into the engine and referenced when it should be played by the audio system. System in the audio namespace. No, let's do audio system. Drop it there. Okay, let's change this. So S icon audio. There we go. And again, this will take an asset literal. These will be different depending on the asset. Let's keep going. So emitter config, we got that. Let's do a font after this. So a font. I don't know if I should. Is it a gaming stream? For now, probably not. I stick to coding, but maybe at some point, like if I feel like it. But I'm not that great of a gamer, so I don't know. I'm not going to be doing like professional stuff or whatever. Yeah, that's true. But also, I don't know, kind of an introvert. So I'll see. I don't know if I have a personality for playing games live. Let's see. Font asset. Do I just want to say font? I think it's gonna break something. $2D games? I mean, yeah, I've played a few 2D games, but I kind of like games like colony simulators, like RimWorld. So that one's 2D. Kenshi, I love that game. I don't know if you know RimWorld. I never played Dwarf Fortress, but I want to try it. And then I do play some multiplayer games, but just with my friends. I don't ever like usually play by myself. I'm trying to think how I want to do. I don't want this to clash with anything. Maybe do underscore asset taken. Emitter config audio buffer. Maybe audio buffer assets. That's too much though. It might be too. I mean, there is autocomplete, so you don't have to type out the whole thing, but it seems kind of excessive. Yeah, but the only reason I want to have like a distinction is because if I just put font here, it's going to clash with the namespace. Or maybe it won't, because it's capital versus lowercase f. Okay, let me try it just by itself, and then I'll see if that works. If it doesn't, I might have to think about appending, or yeah, appending something at the end. Okay, let's do a font asset. Reference to a font asset. The font is used to describe the behavior of a particular. Wait, no. The font is typically loaded into the engine and referenced by in-game user interface. That's about it. All right, and then of course we want to get the font icon. That's icon font. Okay, what's the next one? Game state. Game state. Make sure my grammar is good, I guess. I don't know. States. Assets. A game state asset describes. A game state describes assets is a globally accessible chunk of data that describes the game's current state. That means in the name. Current what? No, maybe I should be more descriptive. Current. I'll just do state for now. Whatever. This icon game state. Yeah, that's it. All right. Okay, input map. All right, input map. Input map. And inputs map assets. Reference to an input map asset. An input map asset is a list of input bindings. Is a list of inputs to script bindings that describe how the user can interact with the game when it is loaded. Yeah, that describes it pretty well. S icon, what is this? Input? Yeah. Might need a new icon for this one though. Okay, input map project components. Try that. Project component to a project component asset. Project component assets. A project component is a piece, a chunk of data that can be associated with any entity, and how do I say, is specific to a particular game project. Okay. S underscore. Now this one, I think I just do box. I just do the icon for the box collider, or actually, wait. S icon entity. I don't know. Wait. Let me go look in. Where is it? I think it's the scene hierarchy panel. Okay, and then we're gonna do S icon. Wait, what? Icon. Oh, we're in the script editor. That's why. I was like, wait, what? Let me move this thing back really quick. Okay, there we go. I keep pulling it on accident, the microphone. Icon. Oh, I do S icon entity. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so we're good. All right, I think a few more, just scene and user interface now. That's scene. A scene asset. A scene. Is a world that can be loaded into, that contains a list of entities. The world that can load into that contains a list of entities. And other world defining, I guess. I don't know. Icon scene. User interface. Okay. Yeah, okay. User interface. User interface. A user interface describes, is a structure holding a series of windows and widgets that can be rendered if attached to the engine. Okay. Engine's active context. Okay. was just reading something really quick. Okay. Okay, so I think that's all of the assets described now. So now let's go ahead and load in these asset literals. Let me go back to, let me go figure out where I do this. Script compiler service. No, wait, script tokenizer. So this is where I do that. Let me go find the, where is it? Let me go find the types that I specify for this script. I think it's in common or script parser. Where's the other common one? Compiler common is what I meant. Okay. So emitter config literal. What do I want to change this to? Asset literal. Okay. There we go. Okay, so now here we're going to change it to an asset literal. Okay. Emitter configs, right? Okay, so I think for this, I'm going to define a list of assets along with it. So let me go to, because we have this name emitter config, right? I want to make this more general. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it into a set, maybe. Yeah, I think I'm going to put it into a set. So let's go into the compiler language. Okay. So std unordered sets. And then it's going to be, these are all heap allocated strings, right? I mean, yeah, you kind of have to then. Okay. Okay, all assets. Okay, then these we're going to go ahead and load in, right? I'm going to figure out where I want to load this in. I think I'll do it. Oh, I think I know where I'll do it. Let's go into the script compiler service. So we're going to go into the implementation file. Actually, just go into header. And let's go to just the general create language definition. And then here's where I load in all these. So what I'm going to do is right above these, I'm going to say all asset assets types. Okay. All asset types. Dot clear. That's the way we can define it here, I suppose. So okay, so AI states okay. Audio buffers. Emitter configs. Fonts. Game states. Input maps. Project components. Scenes. User interfaces. It's spelled correctly, but yeah, it's just fine. Okay, so that's good. Load all asset declarations. Okay. And then of course we're going to want to do this for every asset type, right? I can't remember if I have a function for get asset from all registries. Oh, okay, it's like a general thing. Did I add the emitter to one? I did. Okay. Alright, let's just go down the list, I guess. So, one thing is I'm wondering, should I hold these? Let's put this up here. All asset. Yeah, I suppose they can all be maps. States. Oh, be right back. All right, I'm back. Let's see. The music, the music, good. Okay. All AI states. Audio buffers. All their configs. All fonts. States. Okay, all project components, all scenes, and then all user interface. Okay, let's go ahead and load these in now. Load in names of all, what are they called? Oh, we get it. AI states. So let's take emitter config and replace with AI states. Audio buffers. state change with audio buffer. Emitter config's the next one, so we already did that. Emitter config, all fonts. Let's change to fonts. Fonts to game states. Game states. Games states. Okay. Okay, there we go. Let's put okay. Let's object components. Object components. Component to scene. Scene to user interface. Okay, there we go. Maybe one thing I'll do is I might turn these into just a function in the asset service, and that way I don't have to keep adding this every single time. So yeah, I might come back and do that, but for now, yeah, whatever. All right, so let's add that here, and then what else is the problem? Let's go down here. Okay, there we go. So assets literal. Okay, I'm trying to think of anywhere else there would be an error. I think the text editor has an error, I think. If I believe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it has an error. Okay, so let's go to the text editor. Okay, this is kind of in my style now, which is good. Let's go find the error. I know there's one in here. Okay, so it's going to be the asset literal. Okay, and let's go get the tokenizer really quick. Oh, and another thing, the namespaces as well. Because I have the emitter configs namespace. Do I want to add these custom, or do I want to do like a for loop? I do a for loop, actually. Do a for loop. For language definition, space, oh, no. On all asset types. Those are two s underscores. Let's see, we'll do an std const, std string reference type. Add all asset types as namespaces. Okay, I'm gonna move this up here. This is going to be the type, so asset type. Access to plus, and then what is it going to be? Oh, asset type. Yep, and this is a string, so it should concatenate. Alright, so yeah, provides access to all of the engines, blah blah blah. So I'll have to keep doing a for loop for that. Do I want to change this to like network service, script service? Yeah, I mean, I'll see, I guess. All right, that's good. Okay, last thing is to go ahead and tokenize these. Let's go over the tokenizer, make sure this works. I think. Okay. Script tokenizer. So if it's script compiler service s active language definition dot all asset types dot contains, and then we're going to check for the m text buffer. Okay, if it does, then basically we're just going to run this whole thing. Like it is, but the difference is instead of doing emitter configs for everything, we're going to do m text buffer because it's the correct type. We've already established that. Text buffer. Namespace token. Okay, yeah, everything else looks good. So I can get rid of this. So now let's check for all the assets. Check for all asset literal type. And nice too, this is a set, so we can just do a, well, we're still gonna hash the string, but we're gonna hash real quick and then just still kind of constant operation as long as the strings aren't too long. So yeah, better than looping through all of them and doing separate if checks. Right. Okay, so the namespace. Okay, so the only other things is when we're actually generating the file, it's gonna be different. So that's the one last thing we need to check. So let's go into the generation section, and this is gonna have errors from here. Yep, there it is. So if it's an asset literal, value.type, it is lateral. It is literal. Not lateral, okay. Okay, now this one might be a series of if statements though. It might. This is the one part where it might not be super clean, but yeah, it is what it is, I guess. Yeah, I guess we have to do a string check. I could link a literal to, let me see, the name. I could link the name to something. Okay, I'm just gonna do the most rudimentary version of this right now. If token value type value is equal to yeah, I'm trying to think how I want to do this. This is the only part that's giving me a little staggered. There's a few ways I can play this, but just give me a moment. I give me like 5 minutes. I'll be right back. Okay, I think I have an idea. Yeah, I think I have an idea. All right, let me go ahead and try it. I don't know if I love this idea, but do what we gotta do, I suppose. So, okay, over here somewhere. Wait, where am I? United States. Okay, here's where we add these asset types. So what I'm gonna do is, instead of this being a set, converting it to a map. And this is gonna be kind of weird. We'll see. I'm gonna do a function pointer. I could do an SD function, but I don't think I need state. I think I just need the function itself. So I'm gonna do kind of a raw or like a C style function pointer. And style is going to be, where is it? Let me find asset service. And I'll kind of explain what I'm doing in a second once I find it. I think it's gets asset handle. Is it? I get the asset handle. Oh, wait a second. No, if I do the function pointer to that, then it's not going to be. Wait a second. Okay. Okay, you know what? No, never mind. That was a bad idea. Okay, I was gonna do function pointers, but no, I'm gonna keep it as a string. I'm just gonna process it in the generator. It's fine. So we'll do this. We'll do a series of if statements, and it is what it is, I guess. So if the value is equal to emitter configs, right? Oh, actually, okay. There's one thing I can do. I can do a check first here. And we're checking if this contains this value, emitter configs. Oh wait, the value is that, huh? Is the actual, like, text. Okay. Wait a second. Okay, there's a few issues here that I didn't realize I had. Let me handle this for a second. Okay, so in the script tokenizer, let me go find it. I'm going to tokenize a string. And let's come down. So here's the second section I just added for when we get an asset literal, right? So we get a particular asset, and then I'm providing the mtext buffer, but this is the actual name of the, how do I say? Of the actual, like, individual asset, but not the type. And that's a problem. So I need to preserve this, like this mtext buffer, because it gets cleared and then refreshed right here. So this is a new text buffer. Basically, we have the like emitter configs, and we have the namespace resolutor, which is this part, and then we clear the buffer. And let me comment this out so it doesn't cause an error everywhere. And then we have the actual name of the asset, so asset name, right? So this part, of course, corresponds to this section. And then this part is thrown in here when it gets loaded into this part, right? So again, the problem is I'm not saving this information anywhere. So that's kind of annoying. Okay, there's one way I could do it. I could save this text right here and then just maybe do, I don't know, what is a token anyways? It's a string along with a type, so I could put like this. Let's see, emitter token dot value plus, and then we're going to add the in between and add the current buffer. So what that should do is provide basically this entire thing. So we can use both of these, right? And then the thing is we need to split it in half, check which type it is, and then we can figure out which buffer to check this against. So kind of a few steps, but it's kind of necessary if we're going to lump all these ASCII literals together into one type. So yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, okay. All right, so let's get over to the output generator and let's figure this out. So we have this. How am I going to process this? Okay, I think I'm gonna do some string views. That's what I'm gonna do. So let's move this back. First, we're gonna get std string view, and this is going to be the asset type. And then we're gonna duplicate this, and it'll be asset name. Okay. Okay, and then we're gonna loop through the token value, and then this is going to be a car array, car character, okay. So we have three objectives. We need to save the asset type, save the asset name, and we also need to blitz on the double this thing. Yeah, we need to split on this. And then in order to do that, actually, we're going to need the iteration. So we're going to need the, just ICT, I guess, iteration. Okay, and then we'll change this up. We'll do iteration. Oh, I mean, this is a for loop. I can just put this inside one. Iteration is less than token value dot size iteration plus plus. People usually do, they prepend it. It doesn't really matter to me, honestly. It's the exact same thing. Okay, and I forget the constructors for string views. Oh, Donkey Lamb. Thanks for following. Appreciate it. You got me a little bit closer to 50. I think was that 39? Yeah, I appreciate it. Appreciate you coming by. I'm working on the engine right now, like my own custom engine. Specifically, I'm just working on like output generation for my scripting system. And I'm trying to get, how do I say? What am I trying to get? Yeah, I'm trying to get like the output generation working for when I reference a particular asset in the engine. If you have any questions, just let me know about anything. But yeah, thanks for coming by. I appreciate it and following. let's see. Maybe I can show you specifically what I'm doing. Let's see if this compiles, I don't know. And also, if I'm talking and don't feel compelled to respond, I post my videos on YouTube, so I just talk in general. Yeah, just parsing, you know how it be. Yeah, let's see if it'll even compile, because I just added a bunch of stuff for no reason. Oh, yeah. We changed this back to a set. Let's put this back. Yeah, and these can be strings because I don't know how big it's going to be. Hopefully that figures that out. I don't know. Okay, well, I'll let it compile for a second. Yeah, I guess it's just gonna take a second. What is it called? Yeah, I guess while I have some downtime while I'm waiting, I can kind of talk about some stuff. So yeah, right now I'm just trying to get asset references inside of scripts because my script compiler, since I own like the whole like setup, I tokenize it and everything and whatnot. I can change whatever items exist in it and then get what they get compiled into. So the idea is instead of where is my notepad? Here it is. Okay, so if I have a function in my scripts called inputs load input, or I would do this play sound. That's more descriptive. I have play sound. Typically you put a string and then you put like the location the sound's at, so it's like sounds slash a sound dot wave or whatever. I think in my system it's kg audio because I have to import it first or whatever. So the problem with this is when I take this string, right, and then if it's in the scripts, if I compile it, it ends up becoming like a C++ call where it's like sounds what a sound, right? And I'm still feeding it in like that string. And when I'm trying to like identify that string as an asset, what I have to do is like take the whole text and like hash it, and then I can check, you know, if that string matches some other string, and you know, but string hashing is not the most cheap algorithm, you know, and having to do it every frame for an asset's kind of ridiculous. So the idea instead is I'm going to define like an audio buffer, and this is like a type, and then you can do like audio buffers, and then do a nice like a resolution, and then you'll have a sound like that, right? And then this, and then I'll do like new or current audio, right? And I can take this in, and let me move this over. I can take this variable now and put it right here. And then what this does, instead of compiling down to this where it still has to hash the string, instead it will become basically this, but this value will be evaluated into like a number, and that would be like the UUID for that asset, right? And that way we're not hashing strings, we're just passing the number directly, and then we can just do like an integer check like that. It's a lot faster. So that's all I'm doing right now for all the assets. And hopefully it doesn't crash. Let's see. Oops. so yeah, let's see if that part is working. I haven't checked that yet. I think the generation of it is the part that I'm having issues with right now, but let's just see how it looks right now. So test script, play audio. I believe I can do like sounds or audio buffer. Oh, it doesn't display it though. What's wrong with that? Okay, what about emitter configs? Is that still working? Yeah, emitter config is still working, so all my emitters are still available. Let's see what else is working. Inputs. Huh. So only the emitter config is working for some reason. That's interesting. There must be something I'm missing. But yeah, these emitter configs, oh yeah. And then, wait, yeah, it doesn't work right now because I'm in the middle of some stuff. What is going on here then? Yeah, this guy's got like the whole thing, yeah. And yeah, it crashed, kind of embarrassing because, something I just changed is broken. Yeah, some colorizing index thing is broken. I don't know what. Wait, where did it break anyways? Yeah, I gotta check how I'm loading in those tokens again. But yeah. So the idea is everything's integrated. I mean, it's kind of like Godot, right? They have their own integrated editor, and then you have those like those hash, or I don't know if you've used Godot before, but they have like those references you can do, and then you can reference stuff directly in the scripts. I'm not gonna do anything particularly like that, but I do want to be able to like reference particular assets. Again, this was working earlier, but I don't know why it's broken. Let me see again. Okay, so this is gonna crash. And I auto-complete it. What's going on with that? It must be referencing something that it doesn't know how to. You know what? Let me go check my suggestions area and see why. I have a feeling it's over there. Sorry if I'm bouncing around all the place too. It's just trying to get this done. Let's see. Where is the text editor? Oh, no. Get suggestions. Suggestions. I might have to call it early soon too, because I gotta go grocery shopping in a bit. But let's see. After namespace. All emitter configs. Okay. So this is the area where I create those like suggestions. I'm trying to see if there's something broken with this. It did say it was the error was in the text editor though, so it must have been that. But let's see. This is the function identifiers. Is this the after namespace? It is. So that isn't what was having the error though. Okay, so here we're checking against emitter configs. Oh, and then this explains why I'm not seeing the other examples in the suggestions. Okay. So you know what? Let me generate suggestions for all assets. Right. And this should be pretty easy because I already have a vector of all the assets. This won't fix that crash, but at the very least I can, how do I say? Get all of the assets showing up in the suggestion list. So const std string reference. Here's your string view. I don't know. Asset type. Okay. So we're going to loop through all of the asset types. And then we're going to have an inner for loop for all these. basically, oh, but the thing is we need to specifically check each one. Okay, yeah. There's gotta be an easy way to do this then. I'm kind of reaching the same problem I was having over in the generation section too. So I'm trying to think of like a nice elegant solution for both of those. Because I need to do something based on this asset type that's returned here, right? It's an SD unordered map of... Well, this unordered map has a handle and a name, so the types are all the same. So that's not bad. Okay, I'm kind of thinking of an idea. Asset types, huh? Also, I should check if the asset type matches too. Okay. I have an idea. I'm gonna go back to the compiler service really quick. This is gonna be kind of weird, but it should work. So what I'm gonna do is when I create the language definition, I create this list of things, right? So actually, I'm gonna make this list. Oh no, I can reference it now. It just clears it and sets it, but it's actually still the same memory, right? Yeah, so what I can do is I can go to this and change its type into an unordered map. But in this case, and maybe I'll do like a define of this, so this doesn't get messy. Let's see, using asset to asset name to ID. ID. Okay. And it's equal to basically this. Maybe I'll think of a better name. I can ask ChatGPT or something, I don't know. But since these are all kind of held in stack memory, I mean, of course, these strings are heap, of course, these unordered maps, like the data is still heap, right? But it exists on the stack, right? So I could reference these. So what I can do is, yeah, make this a map to, as an asset name to ID map pointer. Is that gonna work? Oh, it just doesn't. The name doesn't exist because I mistyped it. Yep. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay, and this is gonna look a little weird, but the idea, right, is we're gonna define this like this, and let's see if we can get back. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is kind of make this like this. And then we're going to say this one. I'm going to get a reference to this. And as long as... Let's put this just in case, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's fine. I can just do this, I think. Yeah, no, that's fine. Okay, so we get a reference to this, which we got to be careful with pointers, but this should be valid as long as this S active language definition is valid. So everything gets cleared at once. So it should be fine. So we're gonna repeat this a few times. Just change this to audio buffers. Audio buffers, there we go. Okay. Oh, nope. I mean, if I'm doing this, I could just store the actual, like this buffer or whatever, I could just store it directly here. Instead of having this weird pointer and direction thing. Yeah, then that way I wouldn't have to... No, yeah, you know, whatever, it's fine. Leave it. Because the one thing is that kind of messes with the memory of it. Even though I'm not really that worried about this compiler performance, but still. Okay, game states. All game states. Yeah, something's still crashing. I gotta figure that out, but yeah, we'll do that in a second. Input maps, okay. Okay, one last one. All right, nice. And looks like that worked. Okay, so that should work. Let's see what errors I caused. Okay, so now, wait, this happens over here. Interesting. Okay, let's just comment this out for a second. We're gonna do a hash shift 0 because I gotta come back to this in a second. Not the most crucial thing ever. Because that needs a whole second rewrite. Okay, this one is going to be basically auto reference. Don't look using autos, but it's necessary for this. And then we're gonna say asset type. And then also, what do I call this one? Name to ID. Map. Yeah, I don't know, but this is still fine because this gets pushed over here. It's the exact same thing. All right, let's go check the script tokenizer. Let's make sure that still works. So I believe it's kind of looping. No, but this still works because we're just checking if it contains it. So that's available on both sets and maps. So yeah, we're good. Okay, now, yeah, again, this may seem kind of obtuse, and I kind of agree that it is, this thing. But it does allow me to do one good thing, though. So we're going to go to the output generator. And where are we having trouble? Here. Okay. So we still need to get this out of this, I suppose, but once this is done and we've verified that these are actually valid, all we have to do now is just check if scripts compiler service, and what is it? Get suggestions? No, it's active language definition dot all asset types dot contains, and then we do asset type. And I think it's having an issue because we're putting in a string view dot string. Isn't it passively checkable though? What's going on here? Because yeah, this is a string that we're checking against. Contains, and this is a string view. Shouldn't this still work? Do I really want to create a string out of this one? This seems kind of silly. You know what, let me ask ChatGPT, maybe it knows. This is just some language definition stuff. Hey. Come on. Do you know how I can check if an std unlimited map with std string as the hash and as the key, and then I don't know, int, it doesn't matter, contains a std string view. Okay, this is using like an old API for this though. Right? Like, I mean, I could try .find, I guess, but it contains the newer one. Yeah, I was about to say. Okay. No. ChatGPT is just hallucinating as it usually does. That's annoying. And I use an std string view to check an unordered map. To check an unordered map. Actually, we'll just do a set with an std string. Maybe Stack Overflow knows. Just input, let's work around with minimal code at the expense of experiment usage is the views. When inserting, really? The standard can't just provide this? What's the whole point of having a string view if I can't just check if it's equal to other things? I mean, it's a pointer and the size, right? Like, isn't that most of what you need for a string? remove, reserving the original address of the underlying string data. So something like can't read as could be. Simply implementing this in would be this still not as nice as hash, being transparent out of the box. Oh well. Lookups in unordered containers. Okay. Would you like to gain improvement? For to enable faster lookup, all you have to do is use STLS for the comparison operator. For containers, I have to overload the hash. Are you kidding me? And then I have to overload the is equal to. Contains this. Okay, wait. Actually, can I just do a C string? No, I can't. Yeah, because SD string view isn't like that. This doesn't null terminate, I don't think. That would have been so nice. Converts the string view to a const bar pointer. Yeah, it doesn't work because there's no null terminator, right? I'm guessing what they're going to say, because you're not supposed to modify it. Yeah, it stores a pointer to the first element and the length of the string. If you know for sure that you'll have no null terminator string, then you can just get the data. Yeah, but then it's not. If you pass that in, but it's not null terminated, it's just going to go to the end of the string or whatever it looks like in that buffer. And it's not the point of the string view. That's annoying. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you could do an SD string surrounding it and then do a C string, but then you have to do a copy. And that kind of defeats the whole purpose of doing a string view, right? Okay, fine, I concede. Whatever. I'm not smart enough for string view right now. I was trying to avoid heap allocations, but it is what it is, I guess. Alright, so if does not, okay, how about this? If it does not contain asset type, then actually no, let's just do a kgscript here. Because if it doesn't contain, that's just on me. Yeah, if I didn't crash before this, then that's on me. So let's take this and put it right here. Okay, then once we get this, we're gonna get reference to the asset asset name to asset ID map. So all we have to do here is just say what was the name of it? Let me head over here really quick. Called this. I mean, I guess I could just define the actual type there. Asset to name to ID. And that's going to be equal to this. I know we're doing 2 checks here, but whatever. And then we're going to dereference it. Or maybe just do a pointer, I guess, yeah. And then we'll just kg assert that this asset name to ID map is a thing. Ensure map points to some data. I gotta be careful with using this though, because this also could just point to invalid data that exists. So gotta remember that if this causes an error, but generally this shouldn't happen. If this occurs, this is because I messed something up in the type, not just some random pointer thing going on. Okay, so what we achieve now, ensure this is a valid asset type. Map references data, and then what next? Okay, now we're gonna do basically like this part or whatever. So let's bring this down. We're gonna use asset name to ID map. And as a pointer. And then we're just checking if this asset name is valid. And then all these asserts will get like pulled out in the runtime. So this is just for me. Okay, and then where's that final bit? Token.value. Wait, did I erase it? Okay, no, it's this. Then this is the last bit. We're doing this. But instead of doing this, basically we're just doing the at for this. Okay, that's the whole thing. And then we're going to say, maybe I should go there. Output ID of the asset. Okay, so, and then this part, I just need to split this into 2. So maybe ChatGPT can do this for me. I don't know. This is pretty simple to use ChatGPT. I believe in you. I really don't feel like checking this myself. Can you split provided string into 2 strings? Based on a colon delimiter. Based on double colon delimiter. Okay, yeah. Also, some error checking. Here is the current setup. also we're going to do okay, so we're taking the input string. We're doing an input.find. I guess that's a thing. Is that really a thing in C++? Find, and it gives us the position. And then it just checks if it's an endpause, as in it doesn't exist. Is equal to 0, then it's at the beginning, which is invalid. And then if it's size minus 2, is at the end, which means, yeah, and it even accounts for this, the length of this, even though for some reason it's doing like these, which is not valid in C++, but I guess it's fine in a comment. And then maybe I'm just being pedantic. And then of course we get the substring based on 0 to the delimiter position, and then we do delimiter position plus 2 to the end. Okay, yeah, it's cool. I like that. I don't really get into the string manipulation like that, so. Okay, and the input is, where is it? This. Value. Dot find this, right? And then, yeah, we'll just check all the different situations. I'll test this really quick as well, make sure it works. Let's do some kg asserts actually. Kg assert. This is not equal to. And I'll just put a comment up here saying ensure input string is not malformed. And again, the reason why I'm being so specific about these, or being so like it needs to assert in this case, is because the only reason this would not be this case is if I mess something up in the engine, not like the scripts being malformed. If the scripts are malformed, it would stop, it would halt before it gets to this step. Yeah, so we got to make sure that this is not equal to 0. And then we'll say, we'll put input text is there is no limiter. Here I'll say the limiter is at the beginning of the input string. Okay, we'll do one more. Say is less than this. Position is less than the, like this, right? Okay. At the end of the input string, and of the input string. And what's wrong with this? Input is not defined. Oh yeah, because it's supposed to be this. Okay, so that's all the error checking. And then this is equal to basically this. Into the asset type and asset name segments. There's probably some other things I could check here as well, but that's fine. Bring 0 to delimiter. Yep. Okay. Is valid. It's the appropriate map from the asset. All asset types. Oh. Okay, the cat wants to go out. Okay, let's see. Okay, so this should work, I believe. So we'll see if it works. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, we might have to do something similar in the next section, so let's go check. Where was I just at? I think it was the script compiler service, and I think there's the get suggestion section. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I think I was writing this code in here. Okay. Let's paste this in here for a second. We'll go ahead and F0 it. Okay, so let's see what's up with this. So generate suggestions for all assets, right? This is after a namespace, so I just want to print all of them that are relevant, right? We're going through all these, and then we're going to be doing, okay, this one's going to be an auto print. Asset type, and then asset map to ID. Okay, and then this is going to be the asset type. Oh wait, actually I just realized something. If the namespace type does not match this type, I shouldn't continue every break. Because then because in this case, if one of them doesn't work, all of them are not going to work. So actually, I probably should put this out here and then do a continue, my bad. There we go. Asset type matches namespace. There we go. And if not, we'll just continue, right? Okay, and then for each one, we're just going to go ahead and... Okay, now, and then here's where we can kind of get some benefits. So we can basically do, where is it? This one, grab this one. And then also ensure that it's valid. There we go. Yeah, all asset types get asset. So this will get us a reference to this, and then we'll make sure that it's valid. So now we have essentially... Wait, no, we have this asset map right here we're talking about. Yep. Why am I doing this with? Okay, I'm just being silly. I don't know. Let's get rid of this. But we will kg assert that asset map to ID is valid, and then we're just going to do a dereference on the asset map to ID. And everything else here should still work the same. It's going to be, rename this to asset name. And then we just provide the handle, but we don't use the handle here. Okay, I think that's it. So let's go ahead and clear this. And let's try it again. Okay, and then we're also going to provide another example of this, but down in the default section. And we're doing something very similar, but we're going to do one more check. So the one more check is to ensure if the return types indeed match. Which I think oh yeah, but we can't. Okay, so yeah, we have to do it here. Oh, wait a second, but the return type uses this. Shoot, okay. Okay. Okay, that makes this a bit tougher. Emitter name to... I do have to fill another map for this. Oh, that's so annoying. Maybe I should just define these as like a big struct or something. I don't know. I'm trying to think how I can do this. Because that one returns that type, but how do I get access to that type? I don't think I have any way to access that. This is not going to work here. Emitter config, huh? Emitter config. Return types.contains emitter config, or if it has an acceptable literal of assets. Yeah, this is just a string of return types. Okay, do I have to save the return type as well? I don't know. Okay, I'm a little stumped here. Let me take a break. With my minute break, I'll be right back. Okay, fine. I can see. Let me see. I'm gonna do something really quick. So all asset types, we're just gonna make a struct of these. So struct, and we're gonna bring it down here. This is asset management struct. So what do I call this? Asset info. Okay, that's a terrible name. I don't know. But we're gonna do this pointer. And then that's gonna be assets to set name. At some point I'm gonna switch all these to doing m underscore, even if they're just a public struct. But yeah, name to ID. The other thing is going to be an std string. That's going to be return type. Okay, and then instead of doing this, we're going to do asset type info. Just the flat struct, right? Okay, so that's going to change a lot of things. I mean, it's not going to be the worst thing ever, but I just need to add these things in manually now. So yeah, it's going to be a few errors. Okay, the first one is this should be invalid now. So basically we need to wrap this. And then I think AI states is going to be a state. This one is going to be audio buffer. This one's going to be, yeah, I do have plans of coming back to this and cleaning this up more. But I just want to get this working first. Config. After I finish Pong is when I'm going to come back and do a big refactor of all this. Dates, okay. Input map. Project components. Scene. User interface. Okay. What's wrong with this? Did I mess something up? Let's see. Oh, that's broken. I can see that right there. Oh, this one's broken as well. Okay, that was it. Okay, cool. Alright, so with that, kg assert asset info. Asset type info. Yeah. Type info dot. asset type. I think I didn't put a Boolean operator or a Boolean overload because I wouldn't be able to find these. So that's, there we go. Okay, let's go to the script compiler really quick and check this. I know there's going to be an error. Where is it? Okay, here we go. Is equal to asset type. Asset types dot at. And asset type ID. There we go. Everything else should be fine there. Okay, cool. All right. So let's get back to what we were doing. So if it's for here. Okay, all assets. Here we go. So we do this stuff, that's fine. Get the thing. But we want to check if it contains it. Yeah, we want to check it before. I'm gonna do it per asset, I think. Yeah, we want to do it per asset. So I'll do this. If it does not contain, and instead of doing this, we're gonna do type info dots and print it. Yeah. Sure, the return for this asset type. Okay. Wait, I'm just gonna cough. All right, there we go. There we go. For this asset type. Let's see if it works. I don't know. I think that error I was having before is still going to be there, so maybe I have to figure out what's going on with that, but hopefully this should work. Oh, actually, yeah, so get rid of this now. And also, let me make sure that's not in the other one. Yeah, that should be fine. All right, let's try it. Yeah, I made that big, complicated, like, type, mainly because I only want one place where I have to, like, change the assets, and that's just gonna be in the definition. So I can just change it once in the definition, and everywhere else will kind of follow from there. But I'm still, it is messy, so I gotta maybe rethink, do some refactoring and figure out how to clean that up. But at first, I just want it to work. No incremental link, that's fine. Will you compile? That's my question. Okay. Alright, so we'll test a few things. First thing is audio. Okay, still not working. Kind of annoying. Okay, what if I do audio buffers? Oh, okay, so the audio buffers do pop up. Okay. what's up with that? Okay, well, let me check if emitter confirm works. So emitter. Okay, so that's broken now. So I wonder what's broken about it. Emitter confirm. Big. Okay, so these pop up. And it asserts. Okay. And it's a text colorizing thing. Which means there's probably some weird invalid indexes going on. But what about that audio asset? What was up with that? It just was invalid, right? Let me check. Let me go check my asset viewer really quick. This audio, we have a menu select. Let's try that one. Equal to. Oh, interesting. So it just provides menu select. What? Yeah, that's wrong. Why is it just providing menu select? Okay. What about audio buffers? Okay, that one doesn't crash, but it doesn't recognize it either. Okay, let's go ahead and debug this and see what's compiling. Okay, so it looks like it just failed to compile because unknown variable audio buffers. Okay. Should it be a namespace though? Okay, I hate to do this, but I know I'm living in like a broken kind of state right now, but it is what it is right now. I do have to go. So let me just go ahead and commit it, and then hopefully maybe tomorrow I'll go ahead and fix it. But yeah, it's gonna be one of my shorter streams than usual. But I mean, I got good headway with it, so now we're just gonna be debugging and getting it to work. What's up with this one? Add assets literal asset type in script compiler, not asset type, token type, script compiler service. IP and type text editor. Well, I'll just say that, and then the other places where it shows up in, you can just see it. What I do here? Yeah, I just renamed it. That's about it. Hopefully something simple. Alright, so handles suggestions. I'll say it's still broken currently. For all assets and scripts. Compiler service. H. Or just SCP, I guess. And then handle assets literal output in script output generator, and then asset literal token lexing in script tokenizer.db. Okay. Start handling all assets. Also, maybe I'll add a few more asserts. That might be my first thing to check next time I do this. Just thinking to myself. So start handling all assets in scripts. Okay, I don't think there's any relevant pushes I need to make to Pong, so that should be fine. Yeah, I don't need to push any more game code. Yeah, I'm still kind of stuck in the progress board right now, so it's the same. I didn't finish what I was doing, so I should be on stream tomorrow, same time. I think I'll stream a little bit longer tomorrow, we'll see. And yeah, that's about it for today. So if you're still watching, thanks for coming by and watching. I know I didn't get much done today, but hopefully tomorrow I can finish up. And that devlog that I did earlier, the devlog that I did earlier in the video, I will edit that up and then post it soon. So I'll see when I get a chance to edit it down. But yeah, if you're watching, thanks for coming by. Appreciate you. And then if you're watching this on YouTube, thanks for watching this. Hope you have a good day or night whenever you're watching it. And yeah, all right. Later.